Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of City Skylines, the British Challenge with me, Pug Gaming. So if you recall, the last episode was the train station and hotels, and we're now moving on to a industrial zone here, just by the edge of the river. So I don't want to go too over the top here with this industrial zone. There's not a hell of a lot of industrial area over in the sort of inspired MK area. So I just wanted to have a small section in the corner here, just with some industrial zones, and also a lot of warehouses, and we'll be moving on to some office buildings as well in the future. As you can see, the industrial zones, I have been using the British theme, which I think looks really good. It certainly is something I see sort of in my local area. It's basically the little warehouses with small companies inside. But I also do have these big warehouses as well, so I'm going to be incorporating both of those into this zone. It's not going to be a huge area. As you can see from the video here, it's only going to be about two sort of roundabouts distances apart from one another, just to have something industrial in this zone. I've also tried to create this as realistic as possible in terms of the car parking. I know in my small town there's a few comments that I had far too many far too many parking spaces, which was a fair comment. There probably was, but in this zone I wanted to try and be a bit more realistic with how many sort of parking spaces I put down. So depending upon how many buildings there are and the size of the building, with the expectations of how many people will be within that, so I've sort of tried to create a few car parking spaces for each zone, just to make that a little bit more realistic, so we're not over cramming ourselves with car parking. So here I was trying to think of what else we can put in this area. I didn't want to just be pure industrial buildings, so I was thinking of a distribution centre, and there's a nice one here which suits the British theme. It's DHL, so I decided to put this in here, put a few lorries in the car parking, just to sort of create that ambience of it's a busy area, and also that gave me the idea, which you'll see a bit later on, for a port as well. Having both the two next to each other seems to work and make sense really. So this is the next stage for me. So I've brought out some of the land a little bit here, and we put a cargo port here, just to bring in some of the raw materials as well, which will help this this zone out. We're going to jump into a time lapse now. This is quite a lot of detail work coming up. So yeah, we'll catch up in a sec. So that's quite a lot of the detailing done in the industrial zone. As I said to you before, I wanted to try and keep some of the green area going, and what they do in MK is they do have sort of grass areas in between sort of areas. So here, the main road being this central sort of 2-lane road, they do have grass and verge and stuff around the sides. I know what I'm creating isn't the same as MK, not anywhere near particularly, but decided to do something here just to brighten things up a little bit, give you the sort of interpretation of the different barriers between the two, and making things look a little bit more pretty still. I still wanted to get some sort of tree line in there and some greenery. I know a lot of the area is going to be pretty much solid building in terms of this being the main city, so any area that we can add some greenery in, I wanted to do so, and I thought this was quite a nice way of doing it, a nice long path all the way past the industrial, which splits up the two zones. So I wanted to make it a bit more realistic in terms of how to separate the buildings to the waterfront as well. So completed that area by adding all these industrial fences around just to create a bit more of a safety caution. And I've gone back to my cobbles on this bank here, and I think that does work really well. It looks a little bit better than the green grass. Not too sure what the best way is to separate the last part of the industrial zone and the water, but this seems to be the best approach that I can think of for the time being. So this draws the end of the time lapse here. The last few bits are going in here. I've really liked the idea of these roundabouts. They do look very British, having a standard roundabout here with some foliage in the middle, and they do look really well. I'm gonna keep doing that, I think. But yeah, let me know what you think and how things are going on this build. That's 2 zones already completed. We've got the train station and sort of hotel area. We've now got the industrial zone in here. I'll be doing a bit more detailing on the industrial zone, adding some cars in the created car parking spaces. But next I think we may move on to a retail park. When I say retail park, there's not really a retail park in MK, they are all spread out, so I'm going to sort of think of a way of doing that and adjusting that to how I want it to look. So yes, thanks for watching. Look forward to seeing you in my next video. All the best.